Alrighty, hey everyone. We're just going to go through a little bit of posture stuff and understanding about how glute engagement is going to change according to your posture. So I'd like you to take a selfie of how you naturally stand and pause the video and then come back and we're going to assess it. Alright, so hopefully you've got, oh, there's lightning. Hopefully I can get this video done before the storm comes. Okay, so I want you to have a look at your picture that you took and I want you to see what's going on with your pelvis. Do you notice that your bum slightly sticks out like this? Do you notice that your bum tucks under like this? Do you notice that your back is behind your bum? Is your bum behind your shoulders? What is happening there? Okay, now the reason that we want to find out what's going on is if you have a tuck like this, it's going to be compressing into the lower back. It also makes it really hard for the hamstrings and the glutes to work properly because there's so much length happening at the front, okay? And when the back is there, everything just takes over, all right? So if you have an anterior tilt, you need to be doing more hamstring work and also more glute max work. Okay, and even some glute medius, which is like side-lying leg lifts and stuff, which can help to re-rotate. All right, so if you have an anterior tilt, I want you to focus on keeping the knees soft and to slightly tuck your bum under, just a touch. Like imagine if you had a bowl and it was filled with water, because if you're in an anterior tilt, the water will be falling out forwards. So if you have a bowl, you want to make sure that it's level. So just start playing around with that and seeing in the day if you can notice, am I feeling my back tight? Is my back sore? Is my lower back sore? Do I feel like my bum is sticking out? Am I arching too much in my back? And just rebalance the bowl, okay? And then you're gonna learn in the upcoming videos how to then do glute work according to having an anterior tilt, all right? Now the next part is if you have a posterior tilt. So the posterior tilt is a bum tuck. So you might be a glute clencher, or you just, your bum is in front severely forwards like so, okay? Or you might just be rounded like this, all right? And so what we want to do again is make sure that, same with the anterior tilt, that our bowl is balanced, because your bowl, the water will be tipping out the back. All right, so making sure that the bowl is balanced, not just our bottom bowl, but also our rib cage bowl. Because if we're slouching, the bowl is tipping water forwards. Same with an anterior tilt, you might find that the water is tipping out the back. Okay, so making sure that the rib cage bowl and the pelvis bowl is neutral and that the water's not spilling out of each side. Okay, and then moving forwards, we're going to practice how we can do certain glute exercises according to your pelvic tilt. But the way for a posterior pelvic tilt person to practice in daily life, again, keeping the knees slightly soft and making sure that the bum is behind the shoulders. So if you have a line that goes directly through the side of the ear, shoulder, and the hip all the way down, your bum wants to be slightly behind your back. Just slightly. So I'll pop a picture here so you can see the difference, because if it's too far this way, then your back is too far behind. Okay, and then it causes like dysfunction for everything. So making sure that you're just finding the ways that you can practice that in daily life, or if you're waiting like at a bank or waiting for an appointment, that you can practice while you're waiting in line. So I will see you on our next video, and your homework just for today is just to practice how you're standing and how you're noticing your posture in daily life. Hey everyone, welcome to this beautiful, beautiful pool. This is one of our members from On Demand, my really good friend, family chateau. I'll have to show you a picture. You'll see it in a second. But today we are coming onto our tummy and we are going to do a glute and hamstring check so that we can determine which fires first and to understand if our glutes are working properly and as they should be. Okay, and then we're going to do some seated butt activation as well as some lying so that we can start to learn how to practice butt, glute, booty engagement and how to use it in daily life so that you get the most out of your butt muscles. Alrighty, so come with me onto your tummy. All right, I'm just gonna move my mic. Okay, so the way we want to begin is by bringing your hand, you might wanna like have your arm straight like so. So you can see that my arm goes over my butt and my hand goes onto my hamstring. So that way I can feel any movement with my arm and also with my hand. Now all I'm going to do is gently squeeze my butt cheek and relax. Squeeze my butt cheek and relax. Okay, so do you want to do that with me? So if you want, you can put your fingers, you can find your bony bit of your bum, and you want to squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. We're just focusing on one at the moment. Okay? And that is, whenever you hear me say in a butt workout, squeeze your butt, this is what I'm talking about. So this is a conscious squeeze. Okay, so squeeze and relax. All right, now we're going to do the other side. Put your hand, find your bony bit. Now, you might already notice that one side is a different, like it feels different, or it might feel less developed or more developed than the other. Okay, so that's the first awareness to have. Now the second one is to find that bony bit, and you're going to squeeze that butt cheek and relax. Squeeze the butt cheek and relax. And we want to be able to do this without having to push our pelvis into the floor, and you can see how I'm adding a tuck there. We want to be able to do this movement without adding a pelvic tuck. All right? Now, if you have an anterior tilt, which is where your bum is quite, like your lower back is quite arched and your butt is sticking out, you might find that you actually have to have a slight tuck in order to feel it properly when you squeeze. But if you have a posterior tilt, then you won't be doing that at all. Okay, so you can see that according to different posture types is really important to know what is going on. Okay, so now that we have done both sides, we are going to do our glute and hamstring check. So the glute and hamstring check is, like we just had before, having your arm and your hand over your leg and your butt. And all we're going to do is keep the leg straight, and we want to gently lift and lengthen that leg and then come back down. And what we're feeling for is your butt engaging before your hamstring. So when you lift, what is the first thing that you notice tense? Is it your butt or is it your hamstring, which is the back of the thigh? Okay, so we want to know what happens when we do that. Now for me on this side, my glute engages and then my hamstring, and it's really obvious. Now, you might want to do it a few times just to go for the feel if this is the first time you've ever done it. Now the next thing is we're going to hold it up. So you're going to lift and lengthen, and we're just going to hold for a few counts and see if anything changes or if it stays the same. And then relax. So were you able to keep your glute engaged, or were you able, maybe it wasn't engaged before but it is when you hold? Those are the sorts of awarenesses that we want to know, and if you'd like to pop them in the comments, that would be really helpful for me to be able to maybe help you or to give you some suggestions, okay, of what to do next. Now the next thing is to bring your other hand to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. So lengthening through the toes, we're going to lift the leg and we're going to feel what happens and then come down. Again, lifting and lowering. So for me, it's funny, on my right side, my hamstring engages first, which I sort of already knew. I've been working on this for a little while, and it's something that I am personally strategizing my workouts accordingly to help fix this. Okay, so now the next thing is to lengthen the foot, lift the leg, and we're just going to hold, and see what happens. So for me, my butt is not actually turned on at all. It's all my hamstring. So I have to consciously squeeze my glute for that to happen. And it's a lot harder on that side. So that's really important information to have. So I'm very curious for you what happens when you do each side. So if you'd like to pause the video and let me know in the comments, that would be super cool, so that I can maybe give you some pointers as to different things moving forwards. Because if you do have any asymmetry, which is where one side is, you know, where there's unevenness, an imbalance going on, then you might need to do something different on each side. Okay, so for example, if you struggle to, like for myself, I'm struggling to turn on my right glute, which means that my deep external rotators of my hip are taking over. That's just a potential, okay? And so what I'm going to need to do is more glute focused, like glute max focused work, which is like clams, glute bridges, and making sure that I'm not doing too much just side-lying leg lifts, because that is going to be working more of the muscle that's already tight. Does that make sense? Okay, so I know that there's a lot to think about there. So now the next thing is to, okay, so we had some people just coming to check the pool. That was funny. Just jumping in the video to check the pool. Okay, now the next thing that we're gonna do is bring your hands underneath your bum. And we're gonna do the same thing what we did before. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, so the same thing. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And you're going to feel your sit bone, so the bone is on each hand. And from here, you're just going to squeeze your butt cheek and relax. Squeeze your other butt cheek and relax. And again, notice the difference. Do you feel the same thing? Do you notice that one side is easier to squeeze your butt than the other? What's going on? Okay, again, it is a lot harder for me to do my right, but I can do it. It's just a little bit of an imbalance, a little bit of weakness, but that's okay. Now another tell. Okay, I'm going to move it a little bit further back without falling in the pool. Can you see my feet? Yes, just. Okay, so when I'm sitting down, can you see how this foot flops out to the side? That is a really good indicator that my external rotators, which do that movement, have taken over. Okay, compared to my other foot, I'm relaxed and my left foot stays where it is. I'm relaxed and my right foot drops out. So my glute is not turning on properly. Okay, so that's another factor. You could be standing up and just take notice. Do you always have one foot turned out? And then see if it corresponds to that butt cheek also working or not working. Okay? So the reason that I wanted you to practice your butt squeezes, or either one at a time or both together, is because it's really important to be utilizing things like this in daily life. So for example, if you are driving your car and you're driving to the beach and it's like 15 minutes away and a really good song comes on the radio, then you want to be dancing with your butt to the music. And the reason that I say this is because so many of us have dormant glutes from sitting down so much, or maybe from our posture type. So by having a little bit more mindfulness throughout the day with things like that, then we're starting to re-wake our butt muscles up out of their little coma, so that when we eventually come onto the mat, we get a lot more out of our workout because our muscles are already turned on. Okay? The same thing is if you have stairs at your home or at your office or anywhere close by, or maybe a hill. Again, every time you go up a step or up a hill, you want to step and squeeze, step and squeeze, step and squeeze. So the weight goes through your glute, not your quad, but through the glute. Okay, and so that way it's also keeping your back a little bit more supported because the weight is going through the biggest part, the biggest muscle in the body. So every time you land with the foot, you want to squeeze the butt. Leaning forward slightly, squeeze, step and squeeze, step and squeeze, step and squeeze, whether that's hills, whether that's stairs. Now I have had a woman in her 50s, well, I mean, I've had multiple people, lots and lots of people tell me this, but there's one specific lady that I worked with who lived in San Francisco for 25 years, and she loves hills. So she was doing hill walks almost every day for 25 years. And she said not once has she ever felt her butt before. And she had a pancake bum. I mean, if you don't care about having a pancake bum, that's fine. But if you're aware of the health benefits of what having a strong glutes can do for your back and for your body and just for your efficiency of movement, then it makes it more exciting to learn this stuff. So then when she moved back to France, we worked together privately and we went through what I'm doing with you right now and taught her how to use it when she was going up her hills, which is still her favorite thing to do, and she's almost 60. And so we walked up and down hills together and she's like, I have never in my life felt my butt like this before. And the only thing that was missing was what we just did right now. So isn't that so cool? It's so simple, but it can be absolutely life-changing. So have a think about all the places that you can go and practice this in your daily life and start practicing. So whether that be stairs, hills, every time you squat down to pick something up off the floor, you squeeze to come up. Every time you, what's another one? Yeah, when you're driving in the car, sing with your butt to the music. That is my favorite thing to do. If I'm on the train or if I'm on the tram or if I'm driving, I will practice that way. All right, so that is all for our lying checks and our seated checks, and then the next section you will see in just a moment.